So happy to be here and happy to be moderating another panel talk, this time on nylon, which by now our audience will have understood that it is a special fiber. And we have a special group of companies that I guess I seek to make it even more special, but I will hand the microphone to them. Can you please briefly, before we enter the discussion, introduce yourselves and the companies you work for? Can we start with, Daniela?
Hello, thank you for inviting me, Sophie. I'm marketing manager for Fulgar. It's a pleasure for me being part of this today's exhibition because I'm working with the polyamide yarns and polymers for more than 25 years. So I'm really happy and proud to be here.
Leyre, please.
Hello, my name is Leyre. I am also marketing manager in Nurel. We are a nylon fiber and polymer producer based in Spain. We produce nylon and polymers for almost 60 years. And I've been the company since 14 years now. So thank you for inviting me. As Daniela said, it's a pleasure participating on this table to talk about the advantages of nylon.
It's a pleasure to have you. Eric, can you introduce yourself, please?
Oh, hi, Sophie. Hi, everyone. My name is Eric Alvarez. I'm the business development manager here at Genomatica for Europe. I've been with the company for 3 years, and Genomatica is a US biotech headquartered in San Diego, California. Essentially, what we do is redesign a molecule from renewable feedstock rather than crude oil, and we are very new in the field of polyamides.
Yes, happy to have you. And then Sagee, I guess for those that did not listen in on your first conference, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, Sophie, and hi, distinguished panel. I'm representing Nilit. Nilit is 54 years in the business of filament nylon. I'm heading the global marketing. I'm heading the innovation solutions at Nilit and other things. And I'm extremely happy that we have this panel with competitors that are all involved in having a more responsible solutions coming from the nylon.
Yes. Well, let's dig in. Specifically, I have one beginning question for all the nylon producers here. What makes nylon more durable compared to other materials? What I hear is that nylon is considered longer lasting than other synthetics. It doesn't tend to keep odors. It looks good for longer. But what are the numbers? What is the proof behind these claims? What makes nylon special? Who wants to start?
Maybe I will start just to give things in general.
Okay.
At the end, it's the chemical side of the story. It's the molecule size. It's the way that it's crystallized during the polymerization phase. And when you compare it to nylon 6, to polyester, we do see that the molecules are much bigger. Because they're much bigger, the crystallization change inside are in a way that they are with higher tenacity. So it's you don't need proof it. You go into the academy and you look at the molecules of nylon 6,6 compared to the other, and you see exactly what the crystallization does, how the strength is high, that causes for high tenacity, for higher abrasion, etc. You did mention regarding odor, and this is, or anti-odor, this is something intrinsic to nylon 6,6 because it has high NH groups, high amino groups. It has hydrogen. And this causes that every other chemical or phenol or whatever that is going into the fabric itself or to the yarn, to the molecule, at the end, it does not absorb it. It releases it. And once it releases it, there is no smell that is incorporated and stays after washing, etc. So this is in general regarding.
Okay, thank you. Who would like to add to that?
I can add some comments. It's important to highlight that longer lasting is one of the most important sustainable point when we talk about textiles. And if we compare polyamide with other synthetics, as Sagee said, polyamide can show us more than double, for example, in a Martindale test. That means peeling formations. So you do the abrasion in the fabrics, and you can see the results that I can also share in my next presentation later. Comparing to natural fibers, for example, everybody has a t-shirt, cotton t-shirt, black cotton t-shirt, and we can see after many washes, the t-shirt is not in the same place, the stability dimension is not so good, the color is not black enough. So we can compare polyamide better than other synthetics, and also with the good other natural fibers.
Exactly. Also, its resistance to oils is higher than other synthetic. So to maintain the product is easier than polyester, for instance. So I totally agree with all the comments of my colleagues. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, so there's solid information that makes, or solid characteristics, physical characteristics that make nylon different. Thank you for that. So now we're going to go through the different types of families of sustainable fibers and sustainable nylons. Topic number 2 is making nylon from renewable plant-based resources. So what are the industry's options today? And I will ask Daniela to talk about that later, but I want to start with Eric, because what can we expect to see tomorrow? And can you tell us more about what Genomatica's research and developments are contributing to the world of nylon?
Well, I think we can start by speaking about what is available today. So today, when it comes to commercially available renewable nylons, you've got some options, but there seems to be limited. You've got some recycled nylon, you've got some bio-based nylon obtained from castor oil, but those options are still very limited. In our case, as I've mentioned, I mean, we do not focus especially on nylon, but nylon came to our attention because at Genomatica, what we are really trying to do is to reduce our carbon emission impact, and therefore we are trying to redesign existing molecule from, let's say, from renewable feedstock rather than crude oil. And this is why we developed a pathway with our microorganisms to convert plant-based sugar, starch sugar, into a nylon 6, essentially.
And but the product that you are developing today is for a nylon 6 and not 6,6, right? So that's a little bit different.
We started with the nylon 6, but we are going soon to move to the nylon 6,6 because the technology is close.
Oh yeah. Okay. Daniela, can you tell us, because Fulgar has a bio-based nylon, which is from castor beans, right?
Yes, exactly. Our bio-based polyamide is 100% bio-based, because we can find. I disagree with Eric. I'm sorry, Eric, because I think as an ethics-study engineer that we have many options already. Since 5 years ago we did not have many. I believe we have 410, we have 610, we have 1010, we have 11. So we have many. In Fulgar, we are spinning the polyamide 1010 is our Evo yarn. It's from castor oil. So instead of taking the crude oil, the virgin crude oil, the polymers are produced from the castor oil. It's a plant that grows in a place without, it does not need too much water. It's nothing to compare to cotton, for example. It's a plant that it's not possible to eat. And we are producing that for around 5 years with a good dyeing quality. So it's not difficult to dye. For dyeing, the touch is really particular, is really good. We are selling much more than we were thinking about 5 years ago. It's more expensive, as one of my colleagues said earlier in the other speech. René, he said that it's true. It's expensive. All of them are expensive. It's not just my polymer or others, but this is the technology. And for the future, I believe the the offer will be more, it will be higher and more availability and even more quality and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Does someone else want to talk about the bio-based?
Well, I must say that we also are working on bio-based. We have 11 and also we have 610. But the thing is, as Daniela said, it's much more expensive. And I really believe this is a way, as the Genomatica proposal, I think the bio-based, and if we can achieve to have a standard polyamide 6 bio-based, it's even better, or polyamide 6.6, even better. My question is if at the very end, all of this is really more sustainable. It has a proven lower footprint than the standard one at the end of the life. So, because at the end of life of these polyamides, it would be exactly the same to the standard one. So upstream, is there really footprint benefit, Eric?
Yes. So maybe before I answer and comment what has been said, I'd like to ask Sagee if he has something to add on that part.
First of all, Eric, thank you, because I think that the question is good, but we have to ask ourselves, why do we need bio-based? And the reasons behind it. And why we need bio-based? Because we want to get out of the fossil feedstock.
Mm-hmm.
On one side, we want to get out of the fossil feedstocks in order to reduce the LCA that they're contributing. On the other side, we don't want to hurt other LCAs, as I mentioned, of land, of water.
Right.
So there are also other solutions, and as I mentioned in my presentations before, and hopefully we will have it live and launched in the beginning of 22. There's also bio-based that is coming from biogases. Biogases that are coming from, I would say, derived from human waste, from landfills, from sewage. That means harvesting biomethane, making out of it a biogas, inserting it into the process itself, and coming with a non-fossil. Because I think when we're talking about bio-based, we're talking about non-fossil. And this is something that we believe that the market will go into that. We do hope that we will be able to bring into bulk programs very recently. We're already in trials, etc. And I think this, together with what Eric is talking about and Daniela and Leyre regarding other solutions, we will be able to move much more faster from the non-fossil solutions that there are. Eric.
Thank you for your comment. Well, the first thing I'd like to mention is that if you look at the market today, I mean, polyamide represent probably around 5.6, maybe 6 million ton of fiber produced every year. On that proportion, I mean, all the bio-based, whether it is a PA4, 10, 11 mentioned, I mean, do not represent the vast majority. So yes, I agree, the options are available, but when it comes to huge quantity, the options are still limited. Therefore, we think, and we are trying to promote the idea that there are different ways to produce that material. At Genomatica, what we are trying to do is we are trying to redesign that material in a different way so that it has less carbon impact. I agree also that we are not necessarily changing the end of life issues associated with PA6. I mean, PA6 is non-biodegradable and will remain non-biodegradable. But our view here was, here's the market today. We generate this amount of greenhouse gas emission. We've got an option to cut that by 50% immediately by deploying such a technology. And in our view, sustainability is a journey. So we need to progress toward better solution. And of course, if we look for the perfect solution, nothing will happen. So we need to try, we need to fail, we need to progress together. And regarding the sustainability impact, I mean, this is what we do. We run full life cycle assessment on our product, and this is really what we are aiming. In most cases, we have been able to demonstrate that the bio-based chemical that we produced, like the Nylon 6, have roughly 50% less carbon impact versus its fossil-based equivalent.
That's pretty good, yeah.
Thank you.
I want to, one thing that Eric said, and I think it's important not only to this panel, but in general, if we will look for the ultimate solution, we will not get there. That means, as Eric said, it's a journey. I mentioned it in my presentation, it's a balance between what is available, what technology is, and what we can implement tomorrow. And I think all of us, and also other players in this field, this is what we need to do. We do not need to put all of our efforts in designing the ultimate solution, but having things done tomorrow morning.
It's true.
Yeah, I agree.
And also what we see, we are encouraged not only because we want to be more sustainable as a company, but also because the market is really demanding these solutions, these more sustainable solutions. So, I mean, as you said, it's the moment to try and to combine different technologies. Okay, probably the bio-based technology combined with a biodegradable technology is a product that could be the winner in the market if we can achieve to this. And soon, I'm sure that soon these options will arrive.
Let's move on to biodegradable. I was going to do recycle, but everyone's talking about biodegradable. So Daniela, what's your experience with this? I think you have the most.
Yeah, we launched in ITMA 2015 the polymers, biodegradable polymers from Solvay. And when we talk about biodegradability, we have to understand how long it takes for the degradable. For example, in Fulgar is spinning today polyamide 66 biodegradable in landfills. Landfills, it's important to highlight that more than 50% of our garments finish in landfills worldwide. Unfortunately, it is like it is. We don't do anything differently, and this is the number. So at least instead of take 50 to 70 years for degrading synthetic garments, our yarns take 10 times faster, around 5 years. The tests were performed comparing to cellulose, to polyamide standard, and to polyester. And we can see the curve following standard ASTM. So it's a standard method official. So we can see the curve and the flat of the curve. So it means no more plastic for degrading anymore. And so not leaving toxicity to the land because other tests were made, and not leaving microplastic in the land because microplastic is also plastic. So it means the bacteria that live in landfills can degrade also the microplastic. We also are also testing in marine degradation, and not thinking about launch the old garments in the sea, of course, but to reduce the pollution of microfibers that are released during the domestic industry, first of all, for the fabric dyeing and finishing, and also for domestic washing, because the filters that we have in our machines at home today, they don't block. So in few months, we will have also this claim to help the planet.
Okay. Who else wants to contribute? Sagee?
Me too.
Yeah, I think that biodegradable is something which is important. On the other side, it does have its own issues, because when it biodegrades, there's emissions of CO2, etc. And at the end, you need to balance if you want to have it in a landfill or you want to have it in the air, etc. But what Daniela has mentioned, and I think that the second side, that what is happening in the marine life. And I'm very happy that Fulgar already started with these tests. I can say that we have already running for 2 years, and the percentage that is in the marine life, the microfibers that are going away, is in the range of 45 to 50%. And I think this is the main issue that we can bring to the market. We know that there is shedding or on the industrial or at home. As we mentioned, it goes through the drainage, it goes through the sewage, it goes to the rivers. At the end, it comes to the oceans, the krills, the shrimps, everyone is eating it, and at the end, it causes the pollution.
Yeah.
And this is a topic that all of us can sort it out and come with a solution for it.
Yes, Leyre, you go.
Well, I wanted to add, of course, as we said before, that there's not a perfect solution, but in my point of view, as Daniela said, we also have this biodegradable product on our catalog. I'm happy that they are working also on marine biodegradability, as we are also doing. We have proven to have a product biodegradable on soil and also on landfill. But the advantage is that all of at the end of the life, even if we want to reuse the product and give it to charity, is going to end up most of it on landfills. And nowadays, more than landfills, they are designed to capture this methane that will be produced in biodegradation and convert it into energy. So this is
or nylon.
So this is we can give them another life to this nylon that will be rejected just into the nylon and convert it into energy. And is it proven that this technology nowadays is working?
Yes.
Daniela wants to talk.
Yes, I'd like just to add a comment regarding to the comment to Sagee. And this is a topic that I always discuss with the brands, with my customers, that it's true that our biodegradable yarn, Amnisolico, after degrading emits biogas, CO2 and methane. And it's important to highlight that every degradation, also the orange peel, the old onion, produces gases. So our polyamide biodegradable yarns, the standard ones that take 50 years, or the Amnisolico, in my case, that degrades in 5 years, are not degrading more or less gases. It's the same level, but instead of 50 years, it's going to in 5 years. And in the landfill life is around 20 years.
Yeah.
So
from 2 to 20, yes.
Yes, it means after the landfill is covered, they change places. It means the synthetic is still there, and the gases that is being producing are not being collected anymore. So it means if you degrade in less than 20 years, it means the gases are collecting to generate energy. So it's important also to share this information.
No, it is.
Thank you, Sophie.
Yes.
I think it is also, I just wanted to add that one of the reasons we didn't focus that much on biodegradability, as I've mentioned, I mean, PA6 is not biodegradable and will remain non-biodegradable, is simply because we've looked at the market today.
Just 1 second. Polyamide 6 can be biodegradable.
Yeah, it can be, but I mean, today is not.
Yes, it is. I have a biodegradable polyamide.
Sure, there are some options. I mean, yes, there are some options, but let's say the vast majority of the nylon 6 on the market is not, biodegradable. Yes. So what we were looking at, this non-biodegradable polyamide 6 carry a problem, which it emits a lot of carbon emission to be produced. So this is what we were already trying to address. So find a different way to produce it in a better way.
Right. So reduce emissions from the start. Okay.
And every biodegradable yarn is also recyclable.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Daniela.
Yes.
I wanted to talk about recycling. So recycled polyester is all over the place, and it's recycled from bottles more than from textiles, but there is progress there. What's the situation today with, unfortunately, we don't have Aquafil. It'd be good to have them. But anyway, you three, what type of recycled material can you propose today? Where does it come from? Is it mechanical, chemical recycled? What's the deal? Who wants to start?
If I may, we have 2 solutions today. We have the most common solution that is recycled from post-industrial. It means our internal waste, we take the waste and we produce new polymers in a mechanical way. Okay, this is the most common. We have and it's very limited because our internal waste, fortunately, is low.
That's
so
what I've understood
we don't,
from nylon,
we don't produce more waste to produce more yarn. So it's very, very limited.
Yes.
And we are launching in the beginning of the next year the post-consumer polyamide yarn. Who watched the Renee could also understand more about this technology. It's from car tires, old car tires. So our supplier makes a process called pyrolysis. So they burn, they proceed with the pyrolysis phase in the rubber part of the tires. There are three outputs: the CO2, and that it's used for generating new energy; the carbon black, that is sold to new tires industry. And the last one that is interesting for us is the pyrolysis oil that replaces the crude oil. And we will have our polyamide from that polymer, and without, I can see in this way, limitation as the pre-consumer. And it's a chemical recycling.
Okay, thank you.
I wanted to point that itself, nylon 6 and 6.6, they can be recycled. There's no problem. The problem is the
collect
we produce with this yarn, the combination with elastomeric. Okay.
Yes.
So until now, there is no solution for this unless even the chemical recycling of this of the real nylon main application product is not discovered. Okay, so as Daniela said, the mechanical recycling is what we have been doing until now. We also have mechanically recycled pre-consumer products. But we have a limitation, is the discard from our nylon production. Even we collect some waste from some customers, etc. But there's no large amount of this product. There is a lot of demand. So
I understand.
We are also working with one of our suppliers with a recycled monomer, okay, coming also from pyrolysis feedstock. But also there is a limitation on quality. This is not, unfortunately, we haven't found yet the solution to compare, to have a feedstock as PET bottles.
Right.
The feedstock as for polyester nowadays. But
so time is running short. So let Sagee contribute.
Yeah, just one thing. We have to remember that when we recycle, it's not only for recycling.
No.
We want to reduce waste. On the other side, we do want to have a lower LCA, and therefore I think that mechanical. This is why most of us are doing mechanical recycling. This is the way to go forward with it. But the main problem with recycle, as Daniela mentioned, availability. We don't produce waste; we produce yarn. And that you need to have the polymer in a almost virgin way. That means that you will be able to spin it, because spinning of nylon 6.6 is not that simple. If you have too much impurities, if you have too much ash, if viscosity is too high, at the end, the touch and feel, the performance is not the same, and no one will buy it. So you will have a recycled fabric, but the touch is not good, so it will go away. And I think all of us are working intensively to find solution, if it comes from tire, if it comes from ocean waste, if it comes from other waste, in order to increase the capacity worldwide. But I think all of us are working in a way that we do want that at the end, the fabrics made out of our nylon, it doesn't matter if it's Fulgar, Nurel, will be in the same levels, in the same performance, same silhouette, same look and feel.
Yeah.
With a lower carbon footprint, of course.
Right. Yeah.
All
right. So let me wrap up with one last question. Which was what's coming next, but you've already talked about all your new developments. Genomatica, Eric, can you tell us a bit about the other biotech ingredient, which is, I think, for elastane or spandex?
Yes.
How far is that?
Well, it's already in the market. I mean, we successfully commercialized some other platform. In that case, let's say, again, a technology platform to produce from plant sugar a 1,4 BDO. which we initially sold under license to people like BASF, Novamont, and recently to Cargill. And this particular molecule can be used in the production of spandex.
Right.
It will be a partially bio-based spandex, I believe.
Yes, in that case, it's partially if you're going to spandex.
So, Sophie, I talking about sustainability, it's something that hasn't been mentioned up to now, is that big part of the carbon footprint in the textile business is the dyeing process. That is, and it's something that we can also help in the spinning. We can produce mass dyed fabrics, mass dyed yarn, in order to reduce this footprint. And this is a considerable reduction of carbon footprint that is much higher than probably any other of the developments that we can do.
True. I know. I mean, there's producers talk about the dope dyed yarns and how important they are, and if people want to be really sustainable, that's what they have to do. But when you ask the brands and the designers, they're like, "Oh, I don't like the colors." You know?
I have to oppose to that way, because when we introduced our water care during this year, there were a couple of brands that were saying, "Okay, we understand we have to compromise on the shade, we have to compromise on the colors. We will go with 4 colors, 5 colors through the year. Do it to us in an efficient, economical way." I think
it's more and more accepted by the end brands, mainly in the sport.
Exactly.
They say,
at the end, we need
4 colors, it's perfect, it's enough.
And at the end, it's balance. It's a compromise.
It's a compromise.
I think this is what we need to drive the market. You cannot get everything. If you want everything, as Eric said in the beginning, you will not get it.
No, it's true. It's totally true.
This journey.
Good point. Yes, very good point. So how do we, we don't have anyone, how do we manage the questions? All right, well, so I don't see Charles coming on board.
Let's hope that we're still live.
Yeah, maybe. Let's hope we're still live, yeah. I'd like to finish with this idea of, a longer lasting, cherishing your clothes, making something that's high quality, that you will care for, and that will look good for long. How much does that weigh in your business? Oops, looks like we may have questions.
Extreme. I believe that for all 3 of us, it's extremely high because we're nylon 6/6 players. Yeah, some of us also have 6. But when we talk about nylon 6/6, this is the main pitch. When we go to every new brand, why 6/6 is better. And I think that we mentioned it in the beginning, and this is the main drive going forward, because at the end, it stays for a longer time.
Right. It's the luxury of the
yes.
It's the luxury, but it's for all. This is the important. It's luxury. It costs more, but we want to price it in a way that everyone can use it.
By nylon stays longer, and it's easy care comparing to any other fibers, and I think aesthetically also, and the touchness of the nylon is much better than any other fibers in synthetic and even natural fibers. So I think it's a winner fiber.
I think also what is very interesting to me to hear is all your initiative regarding recycling. And I think that this is really what consumer wants. I mean, they want to get more transparency on where the material comes from, how it is made. And I think by doing that, I mean, you are giving them a nice story. In fact, this is also something that we were trying to address with our biology process. I mean, it's a one-step process. We start from plant-based sugar, and we obtain some molecule which can be used.
Interesting. Okay, Charles, any questions from our audience?
Sophie, there were loads of questions. The best thing about the questions is as the conversation has progressed, you've actually been answering some of them. So we know we're on a live subject. But Sophie, I don't want to ask you any questions because yesterday you had the best panel. And the more questions we asked you, the more it opened up to other things. So I'm just going to go through a whole load of questions because we have 10 minutes and then whoever wants to answer whichever ones they can. So we have things like the big issue with biodegradable nylon is that it is still from fossil fuel feedstock. What is the solution to that? That's one question. Someone's asking Daniela about, are you prepared to name your partner who's supplying the material? Becky's asking, can the nylon be produced from tyres? The nylon that we're extracting from the tyres, can we then recycle that further afterwards? We've got the big running debate, which has been going on all day, about is there enough nylon waste to actually keep the system going? And if I could plug my own presentation, I answer that question last thing today. We have, yes, the concentration is essentially on the technicalities of both the nylon extracts that you're producing and what we can do with them and their further life, but also how you're getting a recycled product to come in the first place. Because as we all know, Sophie, you especially, you remember a decade and a half ago when we had the scandal about the recycled polyester that wasn't being properly recycled. And I think the industry has become very wise, and they're now, if I could answer it, they now want to see the GRS. They want to see the global recycled stamp. So if I could throw the immediate questions to you, or rather to your panel.
Yes, to the panel.
Are we still only talking about biodegradable nylon from a fossil fuel feedstock? How much can that nylon be further recycled? Have we got to use a chemical process, or is there a chance of a mechanical process? What is the biodegradable polyamide degrading to? So they're asking towards greenhouse gases, the toxicity of the biomass. Sorry, I'm just overloading you with information here.
Okay.
They're really good questions. But if we start on those three questions.
Okay.
May I?
Yes.
So regarding to the biodegradable, yes, the biodegradable yarns are from crude oil. From bio-based, we don't believe the quality would be acceptable because the bio-based polyamide yarns already present some difficulties. And if everything that you add inside the polymers or the yarns, you have many more problems. But who knows if in the future we cannot have it? Okay, since we said in the beginning, it's sustainable is a progress. For the moment, we don't have it. And after degrading the I think we've already talked here, but I would like to repeat that every degradation, every material becomes biogas and biomass. Biogas means CH4 and CO2 that are collected to generate energy. And the biomass is organic material, so no toxicity, and it remains in the land. This is, I think, these are the questions regarding to the biodegradable.
And if it can be recycled, I think.
Yeah,
and it is, yes, if we already talked about it completely. It's like the quality of yarns, fabrics, comfort, it's exactly as a standard polyamide.
Yeah. If I can...
If the mix with other fibers, such as elastomeric, is not being produced.
Right.
It's a complicated...
Two things. One on the recycled, and I think, Charles, you answered it. Today, everyone requires a certification. It's an SCS, GRS, it doesn't matter. You cannot just put your logo recycled. You will be sued for that. Everyone, it's clear. You cannot greenwash it. And I'm happy that the industry went into that direction. Hopefully it will go also to other solutions that all of us have, because we want that that there will be no copycat, that it will not degrade, that it will have a value to the people. Regarding the question of bio-based and biodegradable, it depends, as I mentioned in a previous answer, what is the source of the bio-based? If it's a biogas, then the answer is yes. And I can say that we're already developing. I don't have something right now to the market, but at the end, we want the entire cycle. We want that it will come from a non-fossil source. And at the end, it will biodegrade back to, as Daniela mentioned, to gases that we can harvest make energy out of it, and organic material.
This
Well, I
is
think
exactly
what
this is.
Daniela's said is the strongest comment. Eric, we'll come to you in a tick, but I never realized they were capturing the gases, the off gases coming off.
Today they're capturing,
so my
in the
education has gone up already today. But Eric, I have interrupted you. Sorry.
No problem.
What
No
were you
worries.
going to say?
I was about to add that this is exactly, what biology focuses on. Our intention is to leave fossil carbon in the ground and to switch to renewable carbon, to change the source of carbon. We are not changing the property of the product. And this is why we talk about redesigning the molecule in a different way. We simply change the source of carbon and move to renewable sources to produce a bio-based nylon 6, which will be equivalent to the one obtained from fossil.
Thank you for that.
That's brilliant. And Sophie, if I could remark on the whole panel, I think you're giving so much detail, you are perhaps not communicating the wider picture. If we even go back half a decade, there has been so much progress in this area. As Daniela said, I'm sure a solution to these hitches, to these bottlenecks of current are in the pipeline, and we are going to solve them. Just in a decade ago, if we used a bioplastic, we knew it could not perform as well as nylon 6 or nylon 6/6. Now we are getting complementary performance. So that progress is really reassuring. So I want to put my faith, and I agree with you, Daniela, that science is moving so fast, it's going to be great for us. But if I can throw in an extra question, almost as a closing question, and this is one for everyone to join in, because it's one of those, I'm going to light the greenwashing bandwagon. And it is essentially, as marketing managers and heads of marketing, how do you make sure you are not greenwashing about alternative nylons? And it's a really hard question. So I'm going to pass it over to your team, Sophie.
I think just there is a tool. The tool is the footprint. If you have a footprint certification, you just have to compare. Unfortunately, still there is not an homogenic certification to everything, but it will come. And I think it's the only way. And in this way, we will have to be sure to put a little logic into the supply chain and into the production of everything that we are talking now. It's just to have the data of the carbon footprint, for sure.
I think that one of the things, and taking the advantage that we're in the digitized world, and you have to be transparent. And if you're able, the brand or us, to have the QR code on the garment, on the fabric, on whatever we're doing, and people can go into our sites and see the things behind it, ask questions, get answers. They will have a trust. And I believe that this panel, probably also others, which are the serious players in this arena, this is what we have to do. We have to make sure that everything that we put in the market is scientific backed, is certified, and we need to be transparent with it, with everyone. And I think this will work. And consumers at the end will have more faith in what we're doing.
I agree.
Charles, I will answer your question like my last message. And it's interesting because we are in the same market, we are four, and it's kind of the same thing that I thought you already said, but I'll repeat because I really agree with you. To avoid greenwash is our day-by-day thinking. We think about it every day. And I asked to the brands, to my customers, discuss, question the chain, learn, study. Don't accept it as the first topic. So let's work together. Transparency, tools, LCAs, documents, labels, everything. We have to use it and to question and to discuss.
Yeah,
and we are here for that.
To choose the right material.
Yes.
For each application, you have to choose a solution that really makes sense. Okay.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, Eric, I have to say,
was there something you wanted to add?
Yeah, I wanted to
I fully agree. I mean, life cycle assessment is a great way to answer that and to address. I think there are some, let's say, some gaps in some methodologies, but I mean, people are trying to address that, and I think it's definitely a tool that people should use more broadly.
Yeah, thank you. I have to say that of all the biotech companies that I'm in contact with for my various articles, Genomatica is probably the most transparent of the big players there, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Sophie, can I now ask you and your panel to wrap up within 30 seconds each about what is the takeaway message you want to leave the audience with? I think from an outsider where I am looking in, I am so reassured by the morality of you as a group. I wish you were in charge because you will make sure good practice happens. So I feel reassured that the technical side is there. I am very dismissive of greenwashing. I think greenwashing is actually a distraction and we pay it far too much attention. There are always people who are going to muck it up. But the messages which I'm taking out is the need for proper tools, for cross collaboration and for standards. So I'm really reassured on that. But if I could throw it to you, Sophie, and your panel, what takeaway message should the audience of this wander away with?
Okay, go ahead. Who wants to start?
Maybe I would start. I think that the main thing is that we all provide solutions that can be implemented tomorrow. And as I mentioned, implemented tomorrow at a price that everyone can use, can source, and that it will have an impact. And the impact is, I think, what we discussed in the last couple of minutes, that there will be transparency and there will be evidence of what we're doing. And I think at the end, if we're doing all of that and we are able to make a change in the way people think about our industry, that we are much more responsible in the things that we're doing, in what we are providing, we will be able to make a change.
Okay, I can add some comments, but in my view, data, partnership, and transparency, we can move further with together and really apply, implementing sustainability.
Yes. My message will be that there are many solutions. I think the most important thing is to produce and produce well, to control our production also, in order to reduce our internal footprint, and to provide different solutions that they are not greenwashing, as we are talking, real solutions that will improve little by little the sustainability of this industry, it will change in the next 5 years. We will not recognize this industry, I believe, in the next 5 to 10 years.
Interesting.
I can only agree on that. I mean, of course, solutions are available, they are gaining momentum, and I think by providing the right transparency, I think partnership will definitely help to, let's say, progress that.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. If I had just one thing to add, is just make beautiful product that people cherish and wear for a long time. It's also as simple as that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Sophie, yet again, you've moderated a wonderful panel. Can I thank you for your skill to choose the right people who can increase our knowledge? So thank you, every single panel member. There are more questions I've not gone into detail on. Things like, what are we doing about dye stuffs and the such like? If you go on to Slido, if you have 10 minutes, if you can answer some of the questions, people will love you even more. In another 6 minutes, we're going to switch to Hugh Williams from the Leyre company for his presentation. But can I say to you, Sophie, thank you for helping out and assembling a great team.